Okay, I think I'm streaming now, which is so interesting. Let me see. All right, is it loading? Okay, it's loading. There's like the delay on here. This is so cool. Um, Weird. Okay, so I guess I like programming. I like doing programming stuff, and I figured, I would start trying to program publicly because, like, why do this alone? Like, I don't expect much from this, but like, maybe there's a couple people who's interested in watching this, so I figured I'd do it. So like at a super, super high level, this is like so weird. Um, what I'm doing is essentially I'm building a website. And the website is like this is a pretty high up there idea that's like a little bit crazy and a little bit nutty. But think of it like a auto oh god, I'm terrible at drawing. Automated wi oh, there we go. Wikipedia. So when we think about like so we think about like the structure of Wikipedia right now. Right now, you have to have people, you have to have individuals constantly contributing to this, and there's, that's fine. We still get really good information from Wikipedia, but I don't see why we couldn't do the same thing without people. Why could we make it the case that when a page exists, you just have a large language model that does the relevant reasoning for the page edits, for adding information to the page, all that sorts of kind of stuff, instead of having a person do it. And the reason why I think this is promising outside of normal Wikipedia um, is not just the automation aspect of it, because that's a cool project, but like, why would anybody jump off of Wikipedia if they trust it? I think the reason why the automation is cool is because this has the potential to go deep into academic subjects and create pages dynamically for really, really in-depth technical things. So, like, let's say there's some like protein that exists in biochemistry. Like what could happen is we could build a system that could take journal articles, right? So let's say you have like journal A, journal A. Oh man, my drawings. Maybe I need to change the settings um, on this tablet that I have. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Settings, stylus, pen settings, mouse mode, slow. So if I were to do that, I guess I just need to be a little bit more targeted with it. Hmm. Hmm. I'll think about this later. Okay, so we have like some journal A with some like scientific article that we care about, with some information, or it has like a series of articles. Like let's say it has like um, article A, article B, article C, and all of these articles are about some particular like protein, right? What we could do is we could go through and we could like have the system scrape the information from this article, scrape the information from this article, scrape the information for this article, and then generate a new page on this protein over here. And like normally in Wikipedia, like you don't have stuff like that happening because if you're an academic, like what's the point of like editing a Wikipedia page? There's no incentive for you to do that. Just publish a paper. That's going to get you further out inside of your academic career, and it'll do what you want anyways. The way I would like this system to ideally work is like we can generate automatically um, pages for whatever topic that exists. Now, I like this idea. I'm not tied to it. I think it's a super cool thing. A lot of why I'm doing this is just to learn how Rust works as a system. And maybe this like setup works for me, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it completely fails in every way, shape, or form for it. So I mean, like, who knows? We'll figure this out as we like go along. So that's the idea. Let me change this a little bit. what if I put this up here? That's probably better for it. So yeah, of course I'm using Cursor like any degenerate who's vibe coding stuff. So I like Rust. So I wrote most of my backend in Go. And I was being stupid, and I was like, "Oh man, these vibe coding tools are like super useful. They're like the most amazing thing in the world. Like, let's try this out and see if it like works out pretty good for us." And it kind of worked, but when I actually like dug into the code itself, it was just dog shit. Uh, so there's a bit. It was not exactly the greatest thing in the world for me. So now I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna rewrite my backend. And I gotta be honest, the more I learn about Go as a language, I understand why some people might like it for working with large groups of people, but I don't know if it really makes sense for like me. Like I don't like it. It's this weird combination where you simultaneously have some low-level memory access with like pointers, but at the same time you have a garbage collector. Like I get why some people like the stuff that in the way that Go is not object oriented, but it has some object oriented like features, sort of, kind of. It's not exactly right, but like the way I was thinking about this is like, why not just rewrite this and rewrite it in Rust? Because I just don't see a reason why the backend for this should be written in Go. And I really like the idea of Rust. I really like the idea of not of having your compiler be a garbage collecting itself. I think that's super super cool. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. So right now, the thing that I'm trying to figure out is this over here. So what I'm looking at is right now you see that we have this arc. So arcs right here, if I'm recalling this correctly, the way they work is they are reference counting pointers. So essentially you have a so this is where the tablet comes. This is where the tablet comes. So let's say we have a new page content over here. So let's say maybe I should make this new content to layer. Maybe I make the width a little bit bigger. I don't know, 3,000. I mean, no, 2750. 50. Okay, so you have a reference counter, which counts the number of references that exist. So, like, let's say you have some object here, like this is your object, it's a thing. Let's say you need to reference it from different parts in the program, so you need to go like this. Well, so you need to do something like this. Oh, I am terrible at drawing these. That's okay. You need to have multiple pointers to this thing. So you have the arc as an object which can help you out with this. So the problem with this whole entire setup is like, let's say you have this object over here. Object. So my mic turned off. Maybe I need to change that in my mic settings at some point. And I feel like there has to be a way to do text here. That's better. Is there a shortcut for this? Text tool. So let's say you have text. No, how do I just type text up here? That sucks. Okay, whatever. So I'll figure this out at some point. I will understand what I'm doing, just not now. Um, so you have some object which I've put in red over here. Maybe I should change this a little bit. You know what? I'm gonna make the arrows different colors. So you have an object in red, and let's say that you have a bunch of pointers that you want to this object. So let's say you need multiple pointers to this thing, and you need those pointers to do stuff to it. So you have pointer A, you have pointer B, you have pointer C, reprogram. So the way I understand arc, this could be just me understanding it, um, me misunderstanding it. This is the way I'm understanding it right now. Is that essentially when you create a new pointer to this object, like the first time you create a pointer, there's some index, and that index keeps a tally of how many pointers that exist. So right now, like, you'll have your tally count. So the first time you create a reference to this object you have, their tally will be 1. Let's say later in the program you need to reference the object again for some different reason. You still want to keep this reference over here. You still want to keep this pointer type thing, but you want to create the second one. Then your tally goes to 2. Then if you have it so that you need a third reference up there, then your tally goes to 3. Now let's say you decide that you want to. The problem is we don't know if we have multiple pointers to a particular object when we want to dereference the object and remove it from memory. So this tally allows us, like let's say that we decide to ourselves, like we want to get rid of all these references. We need a mechanism to tell us when to get rid of this object over here. Um, so this tally, what'll happen is that first, let's say that we get rid of this. Let's say we get rid of this pointer over here. So this one doesn't exist. I need to draw better X's. Then this tally, how do I draw black? Then this tally goes away up here. So the tally count goes down to, it goes down to 2. So then let's say we get rid of this pointer over here because we don't need it anymore. Then the tally goes down to 1. Then let's say we get rid of this pointer over here. Then the tally goes down to 0. And now that we know that the tally is equal to 0 up here, ooh, how do I do this? So now that it's 0, we can deallocate this thing up here because there's no more references to it. So then we're okay to get rid of this thing inside of our system. I know that's a bit. My explanation is terrible. My drawings are terrible right now, but I'm okay with that. So essentially, that's what the arcs do, as far as I'm aware, the reference counting. Now, here's the thing that I encountered that I'm like still kind of working on up here. So the question that I have is I have this thing called a state manager. What this state manager does is the state manager, let me get rid of all this stuff. So the state manager, this relates to CSRF stuff. Essentially what this state manager needs to do is it needs to keep track of a series of strings that are valid or invalid. This is used for security purposes. So you might have a string here, string A, string B, string C, A, B, then you have C, and the state manager is able to track all of these together. Oh, what did I just do? What did I just do? Oh, wow. Huh. So the state manager has to track all of these, and it has to track when this is expired. Because at some point, this B over here, it's not valid. Sorry, this, at some point, this string up here, A, this becomes not valid. Then B might become not valid. And then C might become not valid, etc., etc. So the state manager essentially tracks, is A valid? Is B valid? Is C valid for this? So the key thing I'm trying to figure out is that when I make this object, when I instantiate let's call this like the state manager. Let's call this SM. SM. The question is essentially how do I set up this system with pointers over here? Now, naturally, you can see how this relates to the arc related stuff a little bit because we probably need multiple references. We might need multiple references to this state manager inside of the program itself. So you might need reference one, then you might need reference two to it. Um, you don't necessarily have to have it. You could have one global state manager, and that's probably like perfectly fine for the system because I'm writing a server, so there is going to be only one state manager. But it seems like it's better practice to separate concerns for these things. I don't want parts of my program assuming things about other parts of my program. If that makes sense. Um, so the question that I have that I've been trying to figure out here is when we instantiate this state manager over here, what we have is we have this object right here. It's called states. This object is the thing that helps us track what's going on over here. So that object helps us figure out like what's going on with all this stuff up here. So this is where I'm going to have to start thinking a little bit. The problem is I want to make a task that helps me track. I want to start a task or a thread or whatever you want to call it that helps me cross out these objects when they become invalid and deallocate them from memory. So normally the way this would work is, let me get rid of everything. So I need to start a thread, and this is me thinking through it. Let me move this over like this. That doesn't look very good. That's okay, whatever. So let's say I have the state manager object up here. I want it to be the case that when there's two arguments to this, and I know I'm jumping around. Um, the thing I'm wondering about is essentially when the state manager is instantiated, I maybe man, I need to get my typing smaller. Let's change this a little bit. I gotta get better at this. Maybe instantiation implies maybe I need to decrease my brush size here. How do I do that? You can tell I have so much experience with this program. I know everything about it. It's absolutely beautiful. Where's the brush size to it? Tools. So that's the color selector. Brush smoothing basic, weighting. Is that better? Maybe I need to go down even to 14. I think that, did that do something? I can't tell. Oh, that's just the icon size. Didn't do shit. Okay. Oh, there it is. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's change that up to like, I don't know, 14. What was it at before? 41. So let's change it down to, maybe we make it down to like 25? Yeah, I think that's probably better. Maybe instantiation implies that the cleanup task. Damn, my handwriting sucks on the tablet. I'll get better at it over time. Maybe the cleanup task. Holy shit, this is terrible. Oh wait, my mom's calling me. I gotta stop the stream. Starts. Okay, I'm gonna pause the stream. We'll get back to it.